Jenn Gibbs. So glad to have Jenn here, and she is relieved of some of her crazy duties that she's been dealing with for a while, and she's like, maybe I can read, and I was like, oh, fantastic, let's get it. So Jenn Gibbs' diverse experience as a professional writer, editor makes her an engaging and versatile resource, that's what this one says. She earned resource, I like that. She earned an M.F.A. in creative writing from Bowling Green, and her stories and essays have appeared in the Chattoochee Review, Heartlands Today, Blueline, Where Women Create, and numerous art and craft how-to books published by Lark Books and Martingale Press. In addition to teaching creative writing and lifelong learning, she teaches technical and collaborative writing at the University of Utah's College of Engineering Clear program. Still doing that, yes? Really? Well, this is old news, and that's what I've got. So I'm just happy to have her here and looking forward to hearing her read. Please welcome Jenn Gibbs.
Thanks. So just really quickly, I want to say this is attaining, not quite a lifelong dream, but just about as long as I've wanted to ski to a yurt and sleep over in it, which I did last year. I have wanted to read for the City Arts series. So I'm really excited to get to read. This is a fantastic resource for our community, and I like to come to listen, and so I'm really thrilled to get to come as a reader because, that always can give you energy to this thing that we do, so much of which is in solitude. So thanks, everybody. And thanks, Joel, for that introduction. I'm going to read two pieces from my collection of short stories in progress, which I am currently calling Fierce Daughters, for themes related to daughters, or fierce, compared to what their parents or other generations might want them to be. So the first piece is Briar Rose. I kind of have a fairy tale theme going on with some of these works. And then the second piece is what I call a suburban fairy tale called Still Time Passes. And when I timed it, they came in just about right, just below the time period. So here I go. Briar Rose. There was nothing wrong with my blue sweatshirt, I told her. She said the edges on the sleeves were frazzled where I sucked on them. Threads were showing, she said. She pulled hair from my face. Like to see me better? Ah, she said, such beauty. Clothes jump off the racks and fall to the floor as Mom trundles through, the shelf of her ass wide and floating high. She has a scoop of ice cream, a mound of mashed potatoes. She says, this color, oh, this color, and holds out a shirt. I don't take it. She shakes it at me, voice soft like, come on, then, it's been 3 hours. Just try something. This is the last store in the mall. A fancy store, the kind people like us don't go to. Some girls might try anything to shop here, but I'm not after cooler clothes. I'm not after anything. What do you want? My mom says. What do you want? They say at group. I don't tell anyone that I want to want something. I say what I want is to not be here. Mom nudges me toward the try-on room with the hand that holds the hanger. On the way, she gathers pants, a dress, a fistful of blouses. I thought it was just the shirt, I say. She hangs them all on hooks in the booth. There's no reason for a tone, she says, then remembers to smile. I keep my back to the mirror when I change. Without looking, I step out so she can have her fun. Tuck in, she says. I ignore her. Nothing fits, I say. That's not true, she begins, but the doctor coached her, so she stops. Instead, this is a good store. I'll get you anything you want. We're walking the aisles again, passing chrome and glass vaults of perfume, tables stacked with teddy bears, racks with miniature prom dresses for little princess girls. I look at Mom's feet, such tiny, pointy little triangles under the circles of her. Her shoes have white places showing through navy vinyl, and her purse, all dirty and white, has a broken strap. 17 says a purse should always match your shoes, and I guess it does in a way. Sad and sorry, I think. This season's colors are sad and sorry. This, I say. We're in luggage. I haven't looked, but I am touching something cool and hard with my open hand. It's like the first thing I've felt in months, or ever. Time curves in. All moments are now. A magician dangles a string of rings. Snap, they're apart, clang together. Difference, connection, the illusions, the same as the trick of time. My mother will always be there, and my skin will always prickle against me here, and nothing can possibly make a difference. All I'll ever feel is tired, and all I'll want is to be laid out on a white bed, my hair combed across the covers, a little rose in my hands on my chest. This is what I told them at group when they wouldn't bug off. I told them, and it wasn't even a lie. The doctor leaned forward. Yes, like this was some breakthrough. Tell us about it. What color is the rose? Where's the bed? I said, I can't see, duh, my eyes are closed. But you see your hair in the rose, he says. You know the bed is white. No, I don't, I told him. It's a man's travel case, leather, with a handle that pulls out so you can wheel it from one airplane to another. I look at my mother there with her purse and those shoes, the hair she spent a half hour fixing, but that hits her face wrong anyway, making her look like a man in a wig. It's been 3 hours, she says. I'm exhausted. You said anything I wanted, I say. But it's over $100. Get something you can use, she says. No. This, I tell her, padding cool leather. I'll need it when I move out of the house. Her smile's like watery sunlight on a winter day. All right, she says, all right. One day when we are over this, when, as they say, our healing is complete, she'll tell me how glad she was to hear I planned to take luggage next time, and we'll laugh. Things will be funny then, lots of things. But for now, we're trying to yank it down from the display when a man in a suit comes to help. He swings the case down with one hand, carries it to the register. Women from Mom's church see us following and come over from housewares calling, you who? I kid you not, you who. When they descend, they look at me square on, not the sideways once-over like at school. They're better at pretending nothing's happened, these women with little pearls in their ears and big gold rings. I heard how they thought Mom wasn't good enough to be church secretary anymore. Tried to get her fired. But now it's good to see you, dear. How are you? They say it together like a hymn, just a little out of time, a little out of tune. Mom smiles when she answers. The dork in the suit declines my mother's credit card and doesn't bother to lower his voice. The women wave their fingers by their shoulders as they mouth goodbye, float cold smiles in the air behind them. I don't want it after all, I say. I don't want it at all. I see Mom looking at me, her hand on her open wallet with the bad card between her fingers. Her stomach presses the sad and sorry purse to the counter where she leans. With what she'd call a tone, the guy says, do you want this, ma'am, or not? She looks tired, and it seems only the set of her teeth hold her in this moment, these moments. She's looking at me, and it's only a small quiver in her chin, but I see it. From a far distance, in an everlasting crystal prison, I see it. Now, hello everybody. So this one is for my kids, because I think the rest of you know it. That's what some of us would call a voice piece, right? This one's a little different flavor. Still, time passes. Once there was, and once there was not, a smooth-bellied girl child murmurs in dream conversation while a spider patiently spins above her bed. A man and a woman sail over a wide bed, sail over a void wider than the bed to an island between. In the dark, eyes open and shut. In the dark, a spider spins, the sleeping child pleads. The woman and man succumb, first one and then the other. In his crib, sorry, I think I might have skipped a line. Let me start again. Rewind. Once there was, and once there was not, a smooth-bellied girl child murmurs in dream conversation while a spider patiently spins above her bed. A man and a woman sail over a wide bed, sail over a void wider than the bed to an island between. In the dark, eyes open and shut. In the dark, the spider spins. The sleeping child pleads. The woman and man succumb, first one and then the other. In his crib, a baby marvels at the pulsating wonder of the dark, at the yielding air which too easily takes his fists, but he doesn't cry. When sleep comes back to deliver seconds, she swings her bucket of starfish and covers them all with the hem of her cape. The girl sinks deeper. The man and woman sink deeper. The baby's eyes close, and he returns to the dark dream of the womb. Outside, flowers dream of opening. Dark rises from the canyon to consume the mesa. Dogs tip garbage cans, root, snarl, fight, taste blood, taste sharpening hunger. No lights come on. The whole neighborhood sleeps. The boy is a prince. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the fat-fisted boy is a prince. As the entire family is royalty, it does not occur to him nor anyone else that he is any more plump or juicy than any other child. Synchronicity here. Why should it? His sister is a fine, honey-haired princess. His mother is a queen. His father, too, wears a very large, very velvet and bejeweled crown. It is like this up and down the street. The people plant things in the ground. They grow. They place their trash by the curb Tuesday mornings. By Tuesday afternoon, it is gone. Crows may fly over, but they do not land near the houses. Only bluebirds. Bluebirds. Only bluebirds are allowed. They eat the spiders that spin in the bushes. They eat the seed left out in feeders shaped like little castles. Bluebirds, you see, are royalty too. This is the way of things in this kingdom, the way of things here. There's something wrong with this clock. Hungry bluebirds, they eat and eat and eat. Princess Clotilda never tires of watching them swirl and peck, swirl and peck. What else can we give them? Queen June climbs a stool and hands down a bag of Wonder Bread. It is not a good day for the queen. She swallows a sense of foreboding with a Midol. Prince Jack toddles after his sister, who runs as she rips slices of Wonder Bread and throws them at the birds who eat and later will shit on the queen's petunias. Inside, the queen. Strange, I never noticed before how dutifully the Bulova eats the hours, the minutes. Slice, slice, knife and fork. One hand the top teeth, the other hand the jaw, and then the digital on the microwave sucks each rock candy minute until pop. Another one's in its mouth. Hungry clocks. Won't you take Wonder Bread instead of our birdseed instance? Mean collectors hopping down from the wall to peck at minutiae fallen between carpet strands. Take what we give, as birds do. Leave us the rest, leave us. A blur past the window. The prince bobbling behind. It occurs to Queen June her daughter runs fast enough now to outrun childhood. Clotilda leaps and dashes. Jack falls and cries. Slow down, June calls, though they can't hear her through the glass wall. And then dogs. All this, web-spinning nights, bird-feeding days, could be scenes painted on a clock, changing places with changeless regularity until the effect of the dogs can no longer be ignored. It seems very sudden to June that now when she watches Clotilda kick a soccer ball at Pioneer Butte Middle School, such a fast runner, so many goals, some mother or other is always leaning in to whisper, the Deerharts lost their daughter. The Clare Whites turned their backs and, unwilling repository of irresistible communal terror, June finds her sense of peace soured, such that it blights the petunias and makes her cooking exude a strange, unsavory odor throughout the house. There are more disappearances. And not just children, but bluebirds, too. There is a noticeable depreciation in the number of bluebirds spotted in the Japanese maples, and the silence upon which so many once counted for their countenance steals away scrap by scrap, too. At night, there's the racket of trash cans tipping, lids rolling down the street, the tapping of dog claws on the walkways. Once soothing darkness is now a rumbling sphere, tumbling the kings and queens around in it, as if it hopes to polish them like stones. Staring into a night made large by noise, Queen June and King August think they will not sleep, though by morning it is clear they have. By the startling way light crowds the room, and the alarm bleats at their heads. And almost every morning now, there is a new horror to be discovered regarding the neighborhood. Yesterday, August found a dead bluebird behind the house. He told no one, as he couldn't help but cry while he scooped it up with a shovel and flung it into the bank of straw behind the fence. At dinner, June asked what was wrong, and he opened his mouth to speak, and the bird's stiff weight was on his tongue. His tongue was the shovel pan. He was silenced. Tomorrow there will be a report about a 6th grader taken by a dog from this very street. A flyer with a picture will appear tacked to the telephone pole, though all will feel the pointlessness of the effort. The neighbors will say there was a scuffle, a bite, a visit to urgent care, a painful series of shots that failed to prevent the child from vanishing. Needles in the stomach, 3 of them, and then parents fixed in helpless horror as the child transmuted limb by limb into fog until she was nothing but a faint mist that scattered when a careless nurse opened a door. Urban legend, scoffs August and June over dinner, though obviously these children are going somewhere. Must be, because they're no longer here. Clotilda watches from her window. The mesa is in plain view of Clotilda's 2nd-story window. At the window, at night, the princess sees the dogs spill out from the canyon like a wave of oil. It is a bright night, the moon round and pearlescent. At first she thinks the shadow between mountains moves. Dogs are shadow, shadow becomes dogs. She might tell her parents, but they would say, "What are you doing out of bed?" And she knows these are not bad dogs because she trusts her stolen mesa view. Anything under that moon cannot be but beautiful. The moon's medieval smile makes her feel like the story where the north wind brings a girl special powers, each one a raindrop he arranges on her necklace. She can make it rain. She will never drown. She understands the language of animals. To have such powers, Clotilda opens like a flower under such a moon. Dogs spill and keep on spilling. There are so many more now than last month. They come earlier and roam later. Clotilda has not seen them in such numbers before, and it is an amazing sight. She has no word for the way it makes her feel, grand and excited and afraid. She wants to love the dogs because dogs are lovable, but her feeling is too large to be called love. She watches the fluid pack roll across the mesa, fan out, disappear into the mist of the irrigation ditch that circles the housing development like a moat. Is this a dream? She does not see if the dogs emerge on the near side of water, falling asleep with her head against the cool window on her window seat that way. The tower. At first, there is one face on the telephone pole, then 2. Then so many parents distraught, having to tack their flyers anywhere they can get a nail in, have to obliterate one child's face in order to post another's. It is understandable that they do so, though it infuriates the parents of the lost ones who are obscured. Artifact. Missing, 4 foot 8 inches, red hair. Answers to Sally. Reward. Please note that Sally's photograph was taken in a professional studio. The wagon wheel upon which she rests her hand is artificial. This is more than enough. June and August bundle their children into the SUV and drive to the lumber store. On the way home, the children have to hold themselves to a cramped corner of the back seat. Lumber down the middle, pressboard in the back, planks lashed to the roof. There is an odd silence about the matter. The king and queen seem dangerously silent. At home, the children are told to watch The Little Mermaid 5 times. It is the Walt Disney version, not It Goes Without Speaking, Hans Christian Andersen's. Little Jack runs cars over chair arms while Clotilda worries that the hammering and sighing upstairs is because she's been caught out of the bed again. It is a long day for the king sighing and the queen hammering. It is a long time, but they manage to get it built in time for dinner. Over Mexican takeout, they grin and chortle and make significant faces at Clotilda, who cannot swallow her beef and bean burrito. From out of nowhere, they present Clotilda with a fabulous 3-tiered cake festooned with pink sugar ribbons and blue sugar flowers. It is not her birthday, she's pretty sure. But then there's ice cream, too, and then the king and queen are leading her upstairs where her surprise waits. Maybe they built me a pony, she thinks. But the whole family crowds into her bedroom closet, which now features a haphazard staircase. Clotilda looks at the naked wood of the bottom step with the beginning of dread, but June and August are pushing her, smiling up, up, they say, until she is at the top of a tower, which takes a long time. There are so many steps. The cramped room at the top is windowless, save for a narrow skylight which shows nothing she wants to see right now. Too late, she hears pounding feet, a door slam, the scrape of a bolt. She understands, eyes tearing, that she is to sleep here in this pile of sawdust and spin something they haven't given her into gold. At first, she is too frightened to move, but shortly after the moon rises and fills her skylight. It is the same moon she has watched all these many nights, and when she reaches to touch its rays, she finds they are something she can feel, can pluck like water grass and hold in her hand. They're very slender, these moon strings, so she tears hair from her head and pulls threads from her clothes and plats them with the moon fibers. And as she works, she discovers she has invisible filaments of intention, of will, that flare from her body with which she can work into her seedling rope. Twisted with moonlight, they rise like a charmed snake, and she understands. She will make for herself a ladder to the moon, to whose smiling promise she desires more than anything to climb, just as soon as she is able. Conventional wisdom. They have yet to accept the connection between dogs and disappearances, so in seeking a form of protection for their son, June and August consult conventional wisdom, which tells them to buy a dog. The tower idea works only for a child old enough to be left on her own for wide swaths of time. You can't be climbing 99 steps every time you have to feed, bathe, change a diaper, heat a cry. The dog they install at Jack's door is a mastiff, gray and tall, more noble than menacing. He is a great comfort to them. They put a gold and silver choke chain around his neck and feed him bloody chunks of stew meat they bought at King Soopers for $3.89 a pound. They congratulate themselves on having devised a plan to protect their daughter and their son from whatever evil stalks the neighborhood and causes sweet innocence to vanish. This is no way for a princess. The neighbors, embittered because they did not think of building towers in time to save their own children from the mysterious crisis, begin picketing outside June and August's castle. Cries of child abuse, drift outside with unclaimed newspapers and feathers of dead bluebirds. If the tower had a window, it would be poignant, would it not, to now describe Clotilda's face, a small, pale oval at one of its panes, high above her Salvatore mob. But remember, there's only a skylight, and a narrow one at that. Good for nothing but tracking the color of a narrow patch of sky, and occasionally, when the season allows, the far-off and translucent moon. If their neighbors have righteous indignation on their side, June and August have the righteous concern of parents on theirs, and so they pay their neighbors no notice. Yet, even the more loyal of their friends who do not piss in the hydrangeas or throw eggs at the SUV when it darts out of the garage each morning and back again each night, do not approve of their measures. This is no way for a princess to live, they say. She must, for one thing, go to school. But June and August answer these arguments by unplugging the telephone and feeding the school principal's notes to the mastiff, who works the threats between his meaty jaws and swallows them, grinning. Too many months. The clock on the kitchen wall and its ovenly cohorts scamper around the castle, gobbling up all the unattended scraps of time that fall from the profligate air. The sun's own undeniable demands collect even that which the kingdom's denizens are unwilling to release. Clotilda's moon ladder grows longer and stronger as she works in the heavy strands of fury at losing what she had not before considered her liberty. As she braids, she wonders how the sea of dogs, of which still has such a strong impression, fares down below. Time stretches with her rope, growing like the distance between sun and moon when measured by a skylight. Occasionally, when Auguste is away, June allows the baby to climb onto Meat Eater's back, and the mighty mastiff climbs the 99 steps to bring Clotilda an hour's entertainment. Because her family has never had a dog before, and because there is something sly in Meat Eater's contented winks to her, for all his nobility, he is one for winking, she has reason to believe the dogs will take over. This does not displease her, as dogs are less likely to shut up girls in towers. She and Meat Eater, she is sure of it, are friends. She shows him her work in progress, and he seems to approve by giving her more than the usual number of winks and by offering his belly, from which she accidentally procures a number of hairs. This gives her an idea, something that will make her work go faster. He seems to understand that it is only from necessity that she pulls a whisker from his face. Her brother, on the other hand, cries when she nibbles off a piece of his fingernail and digs a spider-bite scab from his cheek. When her mother calls that her father's car is in the drive, Clotilda kisses her brother for duty, but the mastiff for love, and returns them to their happier station below. June and August, now accustomed to the dirty yard, nasty neighbors, and astounding lack of bluebirds, do their best to live like royalty within the walls of their abode. Yet they are snappish, distant, and lonely. By day, he busies himself with washing the SUV, while she flips the pages of catalogs and takes frequent naps. At night, their bed is a rolling ocean in which neither can find the other. When sleep comes, she is never early enough. Still the flowers bloom and fall, bloom and fall. Still those kissing adversaries, night and day, circle each other warily. And still time passes. Clotilda can't tell it is spring, but wakes at dawn on her pile of sawdust to hear a rapping at her skylight and to see a flurrying flash of blue. This gives her the swift, certain knowledge that something, she can't say what, has changed in her apparently changeless condition. The late risen moon is a pale candy dissolving in her sliver of glass, the strengthening sun soon to swallow the last of it. In a tone only Meat Eater can hear, Clotilda calls, and soon she hears the scuttle and snuffle of a nose at the bolt far below. She must hurry, or the moon will disappear. An hour later, at the kitchen table, so many yards below, a bar of strong sun lays across the table, at which June reluctantly fits a new battery into the Bulova, which stopped at 4:20. A bird, maybe the one that roused Clotilda, alights on the branch of a flowering dogwood by the window. June feels the weight of its stare, looks just in time to see it give a communicative tilt of its head and loose a crack on the petulant but nonetheless blooming flowers below. Are the bluebirds about to make a comeback? If so, why does June feel menaced? According to the Bulova's reanimated secondhand, it is only 1 minute later that June discovers Meat Eater and the prince are nowhere to be found, and 32 seconds after that she contemplates the ominous gape of Clotilda's closet door. Fighting a lurch of dread, she rushes up the 99 steps to arrive breathless at a horrific web of hair and cloth and dog whiskers, and substances she can't identify that reaches up from the floor to penetrate the skylight and rise beyond the point her eyes can follow before they cloud with tears. Clotilda, whom June only half hopes to find cowering in a corner, is missing as well. Immediately, June comprehends it would be useless to try to determine if she and August have erred. The room would still be empty. She also knows she cannot go back down the steps, for a queen who has misplaced her children is no longer a queen. Only one thing to do: lay hold of the ladder. This June does tentatively at first, with growing conviction and energy, moves from one swaying foothold to another. As she climbs, the sunlight intensifies, heats the tower room. As she climbs, the rope exudes the odor of bodily discard, of girl, of boy, of dog, of tears, of slow-cooked rage, of clothes worn too long in closed spaces. As she climbs, the ladder trembles, and moonbeam threads sparkle and sound, minute clatter of a neighbor's wind chime, glass shattering in a distant street. As she climbs, the smallness of this sound, its woeful insufficiency, awakens in her the craving to be filled once again with children. She remembers a moment not so long ago when Jack was tucked between her ribs and pelvis, and Clotilda rested snug in her arms, and August circled them all with his warmth, a perfect familial conjunction. She will rise and find her children, and August will find the ladder and follow. This is June's wish. It is why she continues to climb, up and up. And there she is, a blot, a speck, a nothing, searching for a way through the sun's lacerating rays and into the belly of time itself.